Chapter 1 Resource and Development Social Science Contemporary India Part 2 Textbook in Geography for Class 10th. Can you identify the name, the various items used in making life comfortable in our villages and towns? List the item and name the material used in their making. Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable can be termed as resource. The process of transformation of thing available in our environment involves an interactive relationship between nature, technology, and institution. Human beings interact with nature through technology and create institutions to accelerate their economic development. Do you think these resources are free gift of nature as is assumed by many? They are not. Resources are a function of human activities. Human beings themselves are essential component of resources. They transform material available in our environment into resources and use them. These resources can be classified in the following ways: on the basis of origin, biotic and abiotic; on the basis of exhaustibility, renewable and non renewable; on the basis of ownership, individual, community, national, and international; on the basis of status of development, potential, developed stock, and reserves. Activity: identify at least two resources from each category. Type of resources: on the basis of origin, biotic resource. These are obtained from biosphere and have life such as human being, flora, fauna, fishes, livestock, etc. Abiotic resources: all those things which are composed on non-living things are called abiotic resources. For example, rocks and metals. On the basis of exhaustibility, renewable resources. The resources which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical, or mechanical processes are known as renewable or replenishable resources. For example, solar and wind energy, water, forest, wildlife, etc. The renewable resource may further be divided into continuous or flow non-renewable resource. These occur over a very long geographical time. Minerals and fossil fuels are example of such resource. These resources take millions of years in their formation. Some of the resources like metal are recyclable and some like fossil fuels cannot be recycled and get exhausted with their use. On the basis of ownership, individual resources. These are also owned privately by individual. Many farmer owned lands which is allocated to them by government against the payment of revenue. In villages there are people with land ownership but there are many who are landless. Urban people own plots, houses and other property. Plantation, pasture land, ponds, water in wells, etc. are some of the example of resource ownership by individual. Make a list of resources owned by your household. Community owned resource. There are resources which are accessible to all the members of community. Village commons, grazing grounds, burial grounds, village ponds, etc. Public park, picnic spots, playground in urban areas are de facto accessible to all the people living there. National resource. Technically, all the resource belongs to the nation. The country has legal power to acquire even private property for the public good. You might have seen roads, canals, railways being constructed on field owned by some individuals. Urban development authorities get empowered by government to acquire land. All the mineral, water resource, forest, wildlife, land within the political boundaries and oceanic areas up to 12 nautical miles 22 km from the coast termed as terrestrial water and resource therein belongs to the nation. International resource. There are international institutions which regulate some resources. The oceanic resource beyond 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone belong to open ocean, and no individual country can utilize this without the concurrence of international institutions. Do you know? Do you know that India has got the right to mine manganese nodules from the bed of Indian Ocean from that area which lies beyond the exclusive economic zone? Identify some other resources which are international in nature on the basis of status of development. Potential resource which are found in region but have not been utilized. For example, the western part of India, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat, have enormous potential for development of wind and solar energy, but so far these have not been developed properly. Developed resource which are surveyed and their quality and quantity have been determined for utilization. The development of resource depends on technology and level of their feasibility. Stock material in the environment which have the potential to satisfy human need, not human being but human being do not have the appropriate technology to access these are included among stock. For example, water is the compound of two gases, hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen can be used as a rich resource of energy, but we do not have the advanced technical know how to use it for this purpose. Hence, it can be considered as stock. Reserves are the subset of the stock which can be put into use with the help of existing technical know how, but their use has not been started. These can be used for meeting future requirement. River water can be used for generating hydroelectric power, but presently it is being utilized only to a limited extent. Thus, the water in the dam, forest, etc., is a reserve which can be used in future. Activity: prepare a list of stock and reserve resources that are familiar with from your local areas. Development of resource. Resources are vital for human survival as well as for maintaining the quality of life. It is believed that the resources are free gift of nature. As a result, human beings use them indiscriminately, and this has led to the following major problem: depletion of resource for satisfying the greed of few individuals, accumulation of resource in few hands, which in turn divided the society into two segments, that is, haves and have not, or rich or poor. Activity: imagine if the oil supply get exhausted one day, how would this affect our lifestyle? Plan a survey in your colony or village to investigate people's attitude towards recycling the domestic agricultural waste. Ask question about what do they think about the resource they use. What is their opinion about the waste and its utilization? Collage your results. Indiscriminate exploitation of resource has led to global ecological crises such as global warming, ozone layer depletion, environment pollution, and land degradation. An equitable distribution of resource has become essential for sustained quality of life and global peace. If the present trend of resource depletion by a few individuals and countries continues, the future of our planet is in danger. Therefore, resource planning is essential for sustainable existence of all form of life. Sustainable existence is a component of sustainable development. Sustainable development. Sustainable economic development means development should take place without damaging the environment, and development in present should not compromise with the need of future generations. Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit 1992. In June 1992, more than 100 heads of states met in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil for the first International Earth Summit. The summit was convened for addressing urgent problem of environmental protection and socio-economic development at global level. The assembled leaders signed the Declaration on Global Climatic Change and Biological Diversity. The Rio Convention endorsed the Global Forest Principle and adopted Agenda 21 for achieving sustainable development in the 21st century. Agenda 21. It is declaration signed by a world leader in 1992 at United Nations Conference on Environment and Development UNCED, which took place at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It aims at achieving global sustainable development. It is an agenda to combat environment damage, poverty, disease through global cooperation on common interest, mutual needs, and shared responsibilities. One major objective of the Agenda 21 is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. Resource planning. Planning is widely accepted strategy for judicious use of resource. It has importance in country like India, which has enormous diversity in the availability of the resource. There are regions which are rich in certain type of resource but are deficient in some other resource. There are some regions which can be considered self-sufficient in terms of availability of resource, and there are some regions which have acute shortage of some vital resource. For example, states of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh are rich in minerals and coal deposits. Arunachal Pradesh has abundance of water resource but lack in infrastructural development. The state of Rajasthan is very well endowed with solar and wind energy but lacks in water resource. The cold desert of Ladakh is relatively isolated from rest of the country. It has very rich cultural heritage but it is deficient in water infrastructure and some vital minerals. This calls for balanced resource planning at a national, state and regional and local levels. Activity. Prepare the list of resources found in your state and also identify the resources that are important but deficient in your state. Resource planning in India. Resource planning is a complex process which involves identification and inventory of resources across the region of the country. This involves surveying, mapping, and qualitative and quantitative estimation and measurement of the resource. Evolving a planning structure enduring with appropriate technology, skills, and institutional setup for implementing resource development plan. Matching the resource development plan with overall national development plan. India has made concreted efforts for achieving the goal of resource planning right from the first 5-year plan launched after independence. Find out what resources are being developed in your surrounding by the community, village, panchayat, ward level communities with the help of community participation. The availability of resources is a necessary condition for the development of any region, but mere availability of resource in the absence of corresponding changes in technology and institution may hinder development. There are many regions in our country that are rich in resource, but these are included in economically backward regions. On the contrary, there are some regions which have poor resource base but they are economically developed. Can you name some resource rich but economically backward regions and some resource poor but economically developed region? Give reasons for such a situation. The history of colonialization reveals that rich resources in colonies were the main attraction for the foreign invaders. It was primarily the higher level of technological development of the colonizing country that helped them to exploit resources of the other region and establish their supremacy over the colonies. Therefore, resources can contribute to development only when they are accompanied by appropriate technological development and institutional changes. India has experienced all this in different phases of colonialization. Therefore, in India, development in general and resource development in particular does not only involve the availability of resource but also the technology, quality of human resource and historical experience of the people. Conservation of resource. Resources are vital for any development activity, but irrational consumption and overutilization of resource may lead to socio-economic and environmental problems. To overcome these problems, resource conservation at various levels is important. This has been the main concern of the leader and thinker in the past. For example, Gandhiji was very apt in voicing his concern about resource conversion in these words: there is enough for everybody need and not for anybody's greed. He placed the greed and selfish individual and exploitative nature of modern technology as the root cause for resource depletion at the global level. He was against mass production and wanted to replace it with the production by the masses. At the international level, the Club of Rome advocated resource conservation for the first time in a more systematic way in 1968. Subsequently, in 1974, Gandhian philosophy was once again presented by Sakhmachar in his book Small is Beautiful. The seminal contribution with respect to resource conservation at a global level was made by the Britain Land Commission Report 1987. This report introduced the concept of sustainable development and advocated it as a means for resource conservation, which was subsequently published in a book entitled Our Common Future. Another significant contribution was made at Earth Summit at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 1992. Land resource. We live on land. We perform our economic activities on land and we use it different way. Thus, land is the natural resource of utmost importance. It supports natural vegetation, life, wildlife, human life, economic activity, transport, and communication systems. However, land is an asset of finite magnitude, therefore, it is important to use the available land for various purposes with careful planning. India has land under a variety of relief features, namely mountain, plateaus, plains, and islands. About 43% of the land area is plain, which provide facility for agricultural and industry. Mountains accounts for 30% of the total surface area of the country and ensure perennial flow of some rivers. Provides facility for tourism and ecological aspects. About 27% of the area of the country is a plateau region. It possesses rich reserves of mineral, fossil fuel, and forest. Land utilization. Land resources are used for following purposes. First, forest. Second, land not available for cultivation. Barren and wasteland, land put to non-agricultural use like building, roads, factories, etc. Third, other uncultivated land, excluding fallow land, permanent pasture and grazing land, land under miscellaneous tree crop groves, not included in net shown area. Cultivable wasteland, left uncultivated for more than 5 agricultural years. Fallow lands, current fallow, left without cultivation for one or less than one agricultural year. Other than current fallow, left uncultivated for the past 1 to 5 agricultural years. Net shown areas, areas shown more than once in agricultural year plus net shown areas is known as gross cropped area. Land use pattern in India. The use of land is determined both by physical factors such as topography, climate, soil type, as well as human factors such as population, density, technological capability, and culture and tradition, etc. Total geographical area of India is 3.28 million square kilometer. Land use data, however, is available only for 93% of total geographical area because the land use reporting for most of the northeast state except Assam has not been done fully. Moreover, some areas of Jammu and Kashmir occupied by Pakistan and China have also not been surveyed. Activity. Try to do comparison between the two pie chart given for the land use and find out why the net shown area and the land under forest have changed from 1960-61 to 2014-15 very marginally. The land under permanent pasture have also decreased. How are we able to feed our huge cattle population on this pasture land, and what are the consequences of it? Most of the other than the current fallow land are either of poor quality or the cost of cultivation of such land is very high. Hence, these lands are cultivated once or twice in about 2 or 3 years, and if these are included in the net shown area, then the percentage of NSA in India comes to about 54% of total reporting area. The pattern of net shown area varies greatly from one state to another. It is over 80% of the total area in Punjab and Haryana and less than 10% in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur, and Andaman and Nicobar Island. Find out the reason for the low portion of net shown area in these states. Forest area in the country is far lower than the desired 33% of geographical area as it is outlined in the National Forest Policy 1952. It was considered essential for maintenance of ecological balance. The livelihood of millions of people who live on the fringes of these forests depend upon it. A part of the land is termed as a wasteland and the land put to other non-agricultural use. Wasteland includes rocky, arid, and desert area, and land put to other non agricultural use includes settlement, roads, railways, industry, etc. Continuous use of land over a long period of time without taking appropriate measure to conserve and manage it has resulted in land degradation. This in turn has serious repercussion on society and the environment. Land degradation and conservative measures. We have shared our land with the past generation and will have to do so with the future generation too. 95% of our basic need for food, shelter, and clothing are obtained from land. Human activities have not only brought our degradation of the land but have also aggravated the pace of natural forces to cause damage to land. Some human activities such as deforestation, overgrazing, mining, and quarrying too have contributed significantly in land degradation. Mining sites are abundant after excavation work is complete, leaving deep scars and traces of overburdening. In states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and Odisha, deforestation due to mining have caused severe land degradation. In states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, overgrazing is one of the main reasons for land degradation. In the state of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, over irrigation is responsible for land degradation due to water lodging leading to increase in salinity, alkalinity in the soil. The mineral processing like grinding of limestone for cement industry and calcite and soapstone for ceramic industry generate huge quantity of dust in the atmosphere. It retards the process of infiltration of water into soil after it settles down on the land. In recent years, industrial effluent as a waste have become a major resource of land and water pollution in many parts of the country. There are many ways to solve the problem of the land degradation. Afforestation and proper management of grazing can help to some extent. Planting of shelter belts of plants, control on overgrazing, stabilizing of sand dunes by growing thorny bushes are some of the methods to check land degradation in arid areas. Proper management of wasteland, control of mining activities, proper discharge and disposal of industrial effluent and waste after treatment can reduce land and water degradation in industrial and suburban areas. Soil as a resource. Soil is the most important renewable natural resource. It is the medium of plant growth and support different types of living organisms on the earth. Soil is a living system. It takes millions of years to form soil up to a few centimeters in depth. Relief, parent rock or bedrock, climate, vegetation and other form of life and times are important factor in formation of the soil. Various forces of nature such as change in temperature, action of running water, wind and glacier activities of decomposers etc. contribute to formation of soil. Chemical and organic change which take place in soil are equally important. Soil also consists of organic, humus, and inorganic materials. On the basis of the factors responsible for soil formation, color, thickness, texture, age, chemical and physical property, the soil of India are classified in different type. Classification of soil. India has a varied relief features, landform, climatic regimes, and vegetation type. These have contributed in development of various type of soil. Alluvial soil. This is the most widely spread and important soil. In fact, the entire northern plain are made of alluvial soil. These have been deposited by three important Himalayan river systems, the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. These soil also extended in Rajasthan and Gujarat through a narrow corridor. Alluvial soil is also found in the eastern coastal plain, particularly in the deltas of Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri rivers. The alluvial soil consists of various portions of sand, slate, and clay. As we move inland towards the river valley, soil particles appear somewhat bigger in size. In the upper reaches of the river valley, that is, near the place of the break of the slope, the soils are coarse. Such soils are more common in piedmont plains such as Dors, Chaos, and Tarai. Apart from the size of their grain of component, soil are also described on the basis of their age. According to their age, alluvial soil can be classified as old alluvial, Bangar, and a new alluvial, Khadar. The Bangar soil has higher concentration of conker nodules than the Khadar. It has more fine particles and is more fertile than Bangar. Alluvial soil as a whole are very fertile. Mostly these soil contain adequate portion of potash, phosphoric acid and lime, which are ideal for the growth of sugarcane, paddy, wheats and other cereal and pulse crop. Due to its high fertility, regions of alluvial soil are intensively cultivated and densely populated. Soil in the drier areas are more alkaline and can be productive after proper treatment and irrigation. Black soil. These soils are black in color and are also known as ruger soil. Black soil is ideal for growing cotton and is also known as black cotton soil. It is believed that climatic condition along with the parent rock material are the important factor for formation of black soil. This type of soil is typically of the Deccan Plassat region spread over northwest Deccan Plateau and is made up of lava flows. They cover the plateaus of Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh and are extended in southeast direction along the Godavari and the Krishna Valley. Black soil is made up of extremely fine, that is clay material. They are well known for their capacity to hold moisture. In addition, they are rich in soil nutrients such as calcium carbonate, magnesium, potash, and lime. These soils are generally poor in phosphoric content. They develop deep cracks during hot weather, which helps in proper aeration of the soil. These soils are sticky when wet and difficult to work on unless tilled immediately after the first shower or during the pre-monsoon period. Red and yellow soil. Red soil develops on crystalline igneous rock in areas of low rainfall in eastern and southern part of the Deccan Plateau. Yellow and red soil are also found in parts of Odisha, Chhattisgarh, southern part of the middle Ganga plain and along the Piedmont zone of western Ghats. These soil develop a reddish color due to diffusion of iron in crystalline and metamorphic rocks. It looks yellow when it occurs in hydrated form. Laterite soil. Laterite has been derived from Latin word later, which means brick. The laterite soil develops under tropical and subtropical climate with alternate wet and dry season. This soil is the result of intense leaching due to heavy rain. Laterite soil are mostly deep to very deep, acidic, pH level less than 6, and generally deficient in plant nutrient and occur mostly in southern state, Western Ghats region of Maharashtra, Odisha, some part of West Bengal and northeast regions. Where these soil supports deciduous and evergreen forest, it is humus rich, but under sparse vegetation and in semi-arid environment it is generally humus poor. They are prone to erosion and degradation due to their position on the landscape. After adopting appropriate soil conservation technique, particularly in the hilly areas of Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu, this soil is very useful for growing tea and coffee. Red laterite soil in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Kerala are more suitable for crops like cashew nuts. Arid soil. Arid soils range from red to brown in color. They are generally sandy in texture and saline in nature. In some areas, the salt content is very high and common salt is obtained by evaporating the water. Due to the dry climate, high temperature, evaporation is faster and the soil lacks humus and moisture. The lower horizon of the soil are occupied by conker because of the increasing calcium content downward. The conker layer formation in the bottom horizon restrict the infiltration of water. After proper irrigation, these soils become cultivable as has been in the case of western Rajasthan. Forest soil. These soils are found in the hilly and mountainous area where sufficient rainforests are available. The soil's texture varies according to the mountain environment where they are formed. They are loamy and silty in village side and coarse grained in upper slopes. In the snow covered areas of Himalayas, these soil experience denudation and are acidic with low humic content. The soils found in lower part of the valley, particularly on the river traces and alluvial fans, are fertile. Soil erosion and conservation. The denudation of the soil colors and subsequent washing down is described as soil erosion. The process of soil formation and erosion go on simultaneously and generally there is a balance between the two. Sometimes this balance is described due to human activities, disturbed due to human activities like deforestation, overgrazing, construction and mining, etc. While natural forces like wind, glacier and water lead to soil erosion. The running water cuts through the clayey soil and makes deep channel as gullies. The land becomes unfit for cultivation and is known as bad land. In the Chambal basins, such lands are called ravines. Sometimes water flow as a sheet over large areas down a slope. In such cases, the topsoil is washed away. This is known as sheet erosion. Wind blow loose soil off flat or sloping lands known as wind erosion. Soil erosion is also caused due to defective method of farming. Plugging in a wrong way, that is up and down the slope from channels for the quick flow of water leading to soil erosion. Plugging also the contour lines can decelerate the flow of water down the slope. This is called contour plugging. Steps can be cut out on the slopes making terrace cultivation restrict erosion. Western and central Himalayas have well developed terrace farming. Large fields can be divided into strips. Strips of the grass are left to grow between the crops. This breaks up the force of the wind. This method is known as strip cropping. Planting lines of trees to create shelter also work in similar way. Rows of such trees are called shelter belt. These shelter belts have contributed significantly to stabilization of sand dunes and in stabilizing the desert in western India. State of India's environment. The village of Sukhomarji and the district of Jhabua has shown that it is possible to reserve land degradation. Tree density in Sukhomarji increased from 13% hectare in 1976 to 1272% hectare in 1992. Regeneration of the environment leads to economic well-being. As the result of greater resource availability, improved agricultural and animal care, and consequently increased incomes. Average annual household income in Sukhomarji range from rupees 10,000 to 15,000 between 1979 and 1984. People management is essential for ecological restoration. With people being made the decision maker by the Madhya Pradesh government, 2.9 million hectare or about 1% of India's land areas are being greened across the state through watershed management. Source: The Citizen, 5th Report, 1999, Center of Science and Environment, New Delhi.